Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zanden, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome everyone to a new episode of Soul Love, and today I have the honor to share a sacred space and sacred conversation with Sharon Wagner. Welcome within this beautiful space.
Thank you so much, Kim. I'm so honored to be here. It's a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
You're so welcome, and it's really great because you're already bringing the beautiful forest energies, the grounding energies into this space. So thank you for calling that forward, because in this busy life, we're sometimes so hectic and sometimes so in our head. So it's so important to connect with our inner roots and to connect with this grounding energy. So I love what you're sharing with the world, and I love the combinations you're making, because when I would say check out her links and her bio, but what I love in your work is really strengthening people in their inner wisdom, in their knowingness, but also how you are supporting people in almost not being afraid of death, not being afraid of this next step. And by that, I think we can also more fully live. We can more fully be present. I don't know how that's for you or how that came into being.
Oh, yes, I agree wholeheartedly. It's, I really do feel that we're walking in two worlds at the same time.
Yeah.
And we have to be grounded in this life because this is where we are. And we have to have I found that the ego is, our mind is the intellectual mind
Yeah.
that helps us get through the I call it the 3D world. But our heart and soul is where our love is.
Yeah.
And that's the inspirational side of us. And we're learning to live more out of our heart than we are out of our head. Head is more fearful
Yeah.
of change and things that are going on, and our heart keeps us centered. You know, we're out here somewhere. And
Yes.
if we can center, and it's our source is God. Our source is from our soul. Our connection is with our soul. And that's where we ultimately have our energy from
Mhm.
anyway. So it's always a learning. I call it an inside out job
Yeah.
because we're learning more about ourselves
Mhm.
and being rather than being way out here in the
Yeah.
doing.
I love that.
So it's the I know. So in my story was it started when didn't really start when 19, but by 19, I didn't want to become an adult,
Mhm.
and I was planning my suicide. My earlier life, I was an empath, but I had no idea what that was. So
Mhm.
I was feeling all the negativity in the world and watching. I love to watch people and watch things and observe. And but unfortunately, I was only feeling the negative side.
Mhm.
And I could see all the criticism and the judgment, the hypocrisy, and people would say one thing and do another. And even our neighborhood, there was a husband that died by accident, and there were four young children. People had lost their jobs, and there was just one thing after the other. And it was my, I only had one older brother. He
Mm.
had been drafted into the Vietnam War, and my mother had several terminal conditions. My father worked out of town all week, so he was gone through the day. He would come back at night, but through the day. So it always seemed very challenging.
Yeah.
And even when he was home, he was busy, fixing things or doing something or helping my mother. And my brother and I helped her as much as we could. But I had my young teenage years, I was brought up Catholic. So
Mm.
that was, and I went to a Catholic school for 9 years. So that was challenging for me too. It, I was in second grade and I thought, I don't think God is like this.
No,
And
yeah.
it was, and I took everything with a grain of salt.
Mm.
And then started asking questions in my mind to God,
Yeah.
why are things the way they are here? And I
Mm.
don't understand. And I just wasn't happy. So in my young teenage years, I had now I realize I didn't know who he was then, but it was one of my galactic guides,
Mm.
and he was the one. I think he taught me more about my spiritual education than anybody,
Yeah.
at that young age. And we would fly, and you know, in dream time. I called it dream time, but
Mm.
I mean, it really felt so real.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed every minute with him.
Yeah.
So in the book, I do have 18 spiritual experiences that happened to me, and that was one of them. But I already knew what the other side was like, because one time we went flying and we were over the treetops of all these open fields, and they were full of people, and
Mm.
and they were all looking up and they were waving and saying thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, of course, we waved back and said hello, but I had no idea who these people were. And when we stopped, I asked my guide, "Do you know all those people? Why were they there and so happy to see us?" And and he just looked at me and smiled and said, "Do you remember um, being Catholic? I used to pray for people at night,
Mm.
and I started praying for people all over the world
Oh,
that had died long ago
yeah.
and had nobody left to pray for them."
Mm.
And I just left it at that. I didn't know who they were. It was, and so he told me. Of course, I started to cry, and I always tear up when I think about it. He
Yeah.
said they asked me to bring you so that they could thank you.
Oh, yeah. I get
And they
goosebumps.
were all the people that got prayed for. And it helped them evolve their souls and
Mm.
themselves. And they were very grateful. And of course, I cried then too.
Yeah. I
But it
find
was so
one
I
thing
knew.
in what you're sharing right now before, yeah, I find it so powerful that your soul, your higher self, the expanded version of you, it's almost like the dream time. What was your recalibration? What was you being able to go through the day, even though it was challenging? But it's almost I love sometimes we can say like dreams are not true, or it's like don't go into this state of yeah we the collective sometimes judges like the daydreaming or the visions or the but I love in your story like it centered you and supported you in such a beautiful way and to really honor that. Yeah.
Yes, it really did. Um, and so I knew that there was two worlds there,
Yeah.
and um, that was our real world, and that we were spiritual beings
Mm.
having a human experience. So it gave me comfort, really, to know how beautiful it was over there. And but by 19, um, I don't know, I just didn't want to be here anymore. And
Mm.
I wanted to go home. I just considered
Yeah.
that my home, and I just want to go home. So, but because of all the family things, I had gone to college. I was in my first semester, and so I went home every weekend so I
Mm.
could help, and I'd cook and clean and shop and do
Yeah.
whatever I could, and then go back to school. So I was having second thoughts about doing that, but I hadn't told anybody. There was nobody to talk to.
Mm.
And that night, one of my other guides came and got me and brought me to the other side.
Mm.
And he showed me a past lifetime where I did take my life.
Yeah.
And it took me 42 lifetimes to get back to the spiritual knowledge that I have today.
Yeah.
And so he told me that others, he called them they and the others, but he never said who they were and he said, but they sent him to give me more information so that I could make a more informed decision.
Mm.
So I'm grateful every day that he did.
Yes, I get that. Yes, yeah. And the world, because now you're sharing your wisdom from that space of experience and from that space.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
I know. And I did write everything down at the time. And I did try to write a book, but I'd made it a fiction book,
Mm.
and it went nowhere. And all the agents and all the publishing houses wanted it to be nonfiction so that I could speak about it.
Yeah.
And I revamped everything and just wrote it down the way it was. And in 2003, though, but nothing still came of it. So 2003, I had other spiritual experiences. I had more questions, and I asked him if I could have another intervention.
Mm.
And several days went by and nothing happened. And I thought, oh well, okay, I'll just continue on. The fourth night, the same guide came and got me, but he
Mm.
looked completely different. And so I asked him what his name was because I didn't ask him the first time. And he just said, we don't have a name. We go by our essence, and you can call me anything that resonates with you. And I said, but you look so different. And he just said, well, we can change how we look, how we
Mm.
appear,
Yeah.
um, to any way, shape, or form that will reduce fear in other people. They will see what they need to see in order to not be afraid and fill them with love,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, it's in the
So
way
it
you
was
can receive it in that moment. Yeah.
right, right. And to be accepting of it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I get
It
that.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. But it was when he brought me to the other side, though, the first time, even at 19, I just can't tell you how beautiful it was. Even though, I mean, we flew through space, and the whole story is in the book. The
Mm.
first chapter is why I felt the way I felt, and the actual intervention, and then the part one is all the information that they gave me in both interventions. One in 2003, and that one expanded to 7 sessions with 6 different spirit teacher guides,
Yeah.
and each one had a different um, aspect
Hmm.
of either the physical realm, the spirit realm, and in the earth today, in our life today, and the purpose for everything.
Yeah.
That there's purpose in every tiny thing that and we can learn our lessons is very important because it can change our life right now in
Yeah.
our own life, but it also, all the good things that we do stays with our soul.
Yeah.
And in any future lifetimes that we come back, it will be there also. So I called it the ultimate incentive program.
I love that. Yeah. But I think your story as well, then you having the experience of that past lifetime and then needing 42 year or lifetimes to come back from that. Sometimes we can feel sometimes life is challenging and sometimes we can go through these deep initiations, but it's
Mhm,
understanding that we're not only transforming and alchemizing them for this lifetime, but indeed
mhm.
for the whole template of our being, of the essence of who we are. We grow and expand as a soul that goes beyond this human understanding. And I love how this story is this beautiful testament to that. But also, you asking questions, because I'm all about when you ask questions, opens up your field, and suddenly you're tapped into these higher dimensional possibilities instead of staying in the limit itself. And because most of the time, the limit itself created the problems, created the friction, created the contraction in our field. And when we ask questions, we open up that. But it's even in the collective, because there are so many collective beliefs that are contracting our field, that are dimming our light, that are trying to keep us small. But when we ask questions, it's almost like little cracks go into that system, and suddenly you can see different things, and suddenly you see different perspectives. And I think it's such a beautiful testament to the power of questions. So when you feel despair, just ask questions. And it's not per se about the answer, but already you asking questions is already you choosing in that moment to tap into a different energy than the fear, than the doubt, than the worry. Yeah. But I don't know, like, because you're now
Absolutely.
guiding people on their journey of really anchoring and really grounding and also centering in their 3D reality. And I don't know how that shifted for you with all your experiences and what you see when you guide people in that journey, because it's also, I think, as well, with everything that is happening, a consciously choosing to be here on earth, because we're here for a reason. And I
Mhm.
know our challenges are opportunities for growth, but we need to see it through the lens of love, to witness
Mhm.
it, or to step into that space like, okay, and to be compassionate with our human self. Yes, it's hard sometimes, but when we look
Mhm.
through love, we can see the wisdom, the magic, the power, the contribution.
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
And even when I was 19, when he brought me over, I did ask if I could stay. I asked him if I had died and gone to heaven. And he
yeah,
just said, no, you haven't died, and this isn't heaven. This is just a stepping stone.
yeah.
But he said the most important tool that we have on earth today is free will and choice.
Mm,
And with every choice, life can change.
yeah,
And and he said, think about how many choices you make in a day,
yes.
and things can completely change. And he had other in our conscious awareness and our perspective. And absolutely, when you ask a question openly and from the heart,
Mm,
you open the heart and you're open to hear the truth.
yeah,
And it's all in divine timing. So
yes.
when I tried to get the book published early on, nothing, it was like nothing came of it at all. But when I was in meditation. It was about three years ago now, I think. And one of my other guides came and said, it's time to
Mm,
write all your stories out, get them organized. And actually, it was the first year of COVID.
yeah.
He said, the world is going to need this information.
Yeah.
So I spent 2 years after that editing and writing and rewriting, and it was published the end of last year. So
Yes.
it's been about a year.
Yeah.
But there's other quotes too. He said the conscious awareness that each individual have and the perspective that you view life with um, is very important to us, but it's also important to the collective consciousness
Yeah.
because we're like a drop of water in the ocean.
Yeah.
But if enough of us had that higher perspective and can see that everything is in divine timing, um, I think we'll be more patient, forgiving, have more compassion for ourselves and for
Mm,
everybody else. And, it's not everybody's different
yeah.
and everybody's going through something. So to be just even aware of that when you see
Mm,
people, and you can usually tell by their demeanor if they're having a hard day,
yeah.
and to smile or say good morning or hi makes a big difference to somebody that's in a pit of despair, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
So he did give me some other quotes, which I really loved. One of them is thoughts can drive us crazy. We
Hmm.
can become aware of them and take control of our mental chatter. Thoughts become beliefs, with or without the facts. We are the ones who judge and label things and people as good or bad and right or wrong, depending on our own thoughts and beliefs
Yeah.
without even knowing, without even knowing. And um, the other one well, actually, there's a couple others.
Mm.
That's
Yeah, feel
okay.
free to share. Yeah, they're beautiful. Yes.
Beliefs and expectations about ourselves and others can do the most damage to both.
Mhm.
We will or will not do something because we convince ourselves that we can or can't, should or should not, and may never even try. The mental chatter gets in the way, and we lose our objective perspective.
Yes, beautiful. And what I love about this one, but also the other one, it's like it's understanding the power we hold within ourselves to bring change. Because sometimes we can feel so almost like a victim of the system, a victim of our lives, of all the challenges that come and all the people that are there. But it's coming back to this space of empowerment, knowing that when you change your inner dialogue, when you change your thoughts, your feelings, your words, your actions, things really
Mhm.
start to change in your outside world. Because again, it is this ripple. And it's understanding the empowering choice we have within ourselves. Sometimes life can feel like, okay, there's no solution, but there's always a solution. But we need to, it's almost stepping into a different radio frequency. We can stay in the radio of
Mhm.
fear, or we can choose to step into the radio of gratitude. And that already shifts energy. We can step into the radio of joy, of love, and from that, beautiful things start to
Mhm.
awaken in ourselves
Mhm.
and with others, or we can plant seeds of a smile. So I really love these beautiful, they're so pivotal in this moment. Yeah.
I know, and they give very good examples of that. And one of them is the radio stations,
Oh
and
yeah.
that we are each a sovereign radio station. We
Yeah.
receive energy, um, and we transmit energy. And every time we do learn a lesson and realize the wisdom in the lesson, our behavior changes.
Yes.
And as our behavior changes, our vibrational frequency increases, and that's what we radiate out. And 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 everybody and everything in our own field will change.
Yes.
And that's why we move forward sometimes, and we
Mm.
don't even realize why.
Yeah.
But they go into that example
Yeah. Beautiful.
a
Yeah.
lot. And that especially now there's another one about conscious awareness.
Yes.
Conscious awareness increases knowledge.
Mhm.
Knowledge increases understanding. Understanding increases wisdom. Wisdom increases the ability to change your mind,
Mhm.
beliefs, and perspectives, all of which changes your life.
Yeah. Yes. Beautiful.
So
Yeah. But
it's exactly what you said.
it also, what I love is like it's understanding that it almost it starts with energy. And that sometimes we can think, oh, this is just a thought. No, if you have that thought many times, it will manifest into your reality. And some thoughts manifest very quickly and others take a longer time. But it's understanding this program that is running in our mind that sometimes is programmed from childhood or family systems, sometimes even past lifetimes. If
Mhm.
it keeps repeating itself, then we can think, why am I manifesting all of this in my life? But it means there's a weed in your inner garden that is sending out a vibration that is attracting that, but you're not aware of it. But you can become aware through knowledge, through seeing what the world around you is reflecting to you, because that's a mirror. So be open. Again, that is coming back to the power of love, because only through the lens of love we can see the real change. We can see the wisdom, we can see the message, instead of feeling hurt or going into defense or going into,
Mhm.
yeah. So I think beautiful, a beautiful one, again. Yes.
And
Keep on
I've
going.
got one. I know I do have several more,
Yeah,
but
one or two more.
um,
I think it's beautiful.
all
Yes.
right. The love is the food for the soul, along with gratitude and appreciation for the blessings and even the small things in life that help us feel and know how much we are loved.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yes.
And I love that one. And
Yeah.
then the other one, the last one I'll do. The most important spiritual growth doesn't happen when you are meditating or doing yoga. It happens in the midst of conflict, when
Hmm.
you are frustrated, angry, or scared, and you are doing the same old thing. You suddenly realize that you have a choice to do it differently.
Yeah, I get goosebumps. I love that one. And that's such an important one. And again, it's coming back to knowing we have a choice. But it's not in like we don't have to sit on a mountain for years to change our
No.
lives. Or no, it is indeed in the everyday life, in our
Mhm.
everyday
Mhm.
experiences and shifting our perspective and shifting our thoughts and our words.
Mhm.
Where can people find your book? And I don't know if you have the cover, but if you have the book
Oh,
there, so you can
actually,
show that where people can. So if you want to dive into these beautiful, beautiful phrases and quotes, that people can find it.
I don't know. Can you see it?
Yes, a divine intervention, revelations about life and death. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
amazing.
yeah, it's the woods.
I love that. Again, the
In the
mood. Yes,
woods.
I
In the
love it.
woods.
Beautiful. So aligned. So is it on the major book sites or?
Yes, it's on. I self-published it through bookbaby.com, and I do have a bookshop page there.
Mhm.
And actually, recently, an audiobook is also available. There is softcover, hardcover, ebook, and audiobook.
Okay,
And the ebook is the free gift today
that's
for
beautiful.
everybody.
Wow. So you can,
So
yes,
I know.
no
So
video, audio. Yes.
I know. It's just I want everybody to know that there's hope and there's love and we're always connected no matter what. There's wonderful examples there too to how to even see yourself from a higher perspective and how you relate to others and yourself and to see the bigger picture in everything.
Yeah, I love that. But I think your story and this sharing is a testament to the resilience we have and the power, also the divine guidance that is around us, supporting us every step of the way. And it's coming back to this space of trust and love and knowingness, and also how we
Mhm.
grow. Because I celebrate you because it's a huge step of sharing your story in a book. Because there's one thing to put it onto paper, but there's a next stage in bringing it out into the world and allowing everyone to see it, to interact with it, to connect with it. And that's really an empowering
I
step.
know. I wouldn't have done it if my other guide hadn't said it's time. And
No.
this is, so in the beginning, I don't remember where I put it, but I said writing the book was a labor of love.
Yeah.
Publishing it was a leap of faith.
Yes, I get that. Yes. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it can
So,
look very simple, but it's not. I know when my first book came out, it was like it took me, but I also needed to release all the layers of lifetimes where maybe we were killed for expressing our truth
mhm,
or anchoring these codes and living them and embodying them. So it's
mhm,
coming back to all these layers when I love that as we step into our next level, like it's revealing to us these layers where we are out of alignment with that next level and it's time to be harmonized. But those are like sometimes we can feel like, okay, it feels like I'm taking a step back, but no, you're taking a step forward. And I love that as we step into this next version of us, this more coming home to ourselves, it also means our field is being purified and we get these
mhm.
beautiful opportunities for growth and compassion and love. And yeah, so I think that's beautiful.
Yes, yes. But the book is also available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble,
Oh,
Goodreads,
okay.
all
Yes.
of the only one that is not is the audiobook right now. It's only bookbaby.com on the
Yes.
audiobook.
I get that. Yeah.
But the rest, the regular books are on all the major distributors.
Beautiful. I will share the links below so you can tune in, not all, but I will share a couple so people can tune into your book. So, if there's one
Okay.
thing as we're almost coming to a place of completion of this podcast, is there one thing you would say to everyone tuning in as an inspiration, or maybe another quote or a beautiful message that feels aligned in this now moment?
I know. Let me check here.
Yes.
Well, I know it is all about energy
Yeah.
and how to look at it, how to learn how to raise your vibrational frequency.
Mm.
And it's all choice and it's
Yeah.
all conscious awareness
Yeah.
and it's all for the collective consciousness too. We're
Mm.
we're all one. Everything is
Yeah.
oneness. And I'll do one more quote and that'll be the end.
Yes. Yes, I love them. I'm going to look your book up after this. Yes, beautiful.
The giver of love and kindness receives as much, if not more, than the receiver of even a small act of kindness. They receive good feelings from helping here on earth, plus rewards in the spirit realm that we are not aware of.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's just it's a beautiful and we are here for a purpose, and there are a lot of different examples of how to view the bigger picture and ourselves, and how we can be more perceptive
Yes.
of everything in that book. Hopefully,
Yes.
people will realize it. But so, thank you very much for
Yes.
having me. I just thoroughly enjoy talking about this
Yeah.
and talking to you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for sharing your voice, sharing your message. And I really celebrate and honor you for the journey you went through and where you are today, and how, like, it's really an inspiration for others to like to see how things can shift and how we can be the contribution. And it truly is discovering this bigger purpose that is beyond our human understanding and embracing all that we are. And yeah. So thank you for sharing your voice, and everyone tuning in. Thank you for being here, for choosing love, choosing to awaken even more of your soul spark. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next Soul Love podcast. So for now, much love. Bye. Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.